one of the responsibilities of a college like this is to turn out students, whole people that graduate and can go take this someplace else. How does that balance with being leaving as a musician, perhaps, if you're a music major?
Well, there are, we have a terrific placement record, and there are lots of folks out there that are proud MSU graduates that are working in symphonies and working in ballet companies. They're working in New York in the jazz arena. We have one of the best music education programs in the nation, and placements on college faculties and in public schools. So there are folks that do very, very well. And like any other field, the study of music brings a creativity level, enhances a creativity level, which is terrific in this day and age as folks are going out and sometimes changing jobs. So it's another very positive aspect to the study of music. Some may say, well, it's not exactly the most practical, go get your, your business degree. Well, we are fortunate because we're following a passion. Most of the students are following the things that they absolutely love to do, and my advice to folks is if you can't live without music, then you might want to try something more traditional, practical, but there are lots of opportunities out there, and you need to follow your passion.
John, we talked about life skills and the things you pick up. When Wynton Marsalis was here at MSU doing, he was in residence here and doing master classes, one of the things he talked about was, with these young kids, about being a person and taking on responsibility. I was surprised, were any of you surprised to hear that come out of arguably one of the best known jazz musicians of our day, talking about, okay, we're here to talk about music, but you need to be a person, be a man, step up.
Well, one of my reactions to that is that there's a parallel with, and I say this to the students often, that if our job were just making the music sound good, making the band sound good, it would be a relatively easy job, I think. And it puts the burden on the responsibility, let's say we have as conductors of ensembles, or our colleagues who are teachers in their studio, our colleagues who are scholars in a classroom. It puts the responsibility on those things that go, in my opinion, beyond making the music and cultivating the whole person. So Wynton's comment about what kind of people they become, and through their participation in music, I was delighted to hear that. I think that's profound, because it would be easy to sit back and just hear a young trumpet player play and then say, do this a little bit differently. But getting into who that person is and what makes them tick, and Rodney said it a second ago, I mean, the people we were inspired by were great musicians, but they were probably better teachers. And that to me is a sign of the commitment to that whole. Making the music happen, that's the easy part.
One of the greatest forms of music making is chamber music, whether it's in the jazz setting or in quintets or duos, and it's the art of communication, the art of compromise, the art of making decisions, and it's a very different experience than being in a large conducted ensemble sometimes. So there's a real humanity, and there are lots of life lessons there.
Well, and most people aren't, you bring up a good point, most musicians aren't necessarily soloists. I mean, people are there working together. This is teamwork, isn't it?
Well, I think I agree with that totally. I think about playing in a big band, for example, where you have section leaders, much like playing in an orchestra or a concert band or whatever. However, the difference is you have to follow the phrasing of that section leader, and they change it all the time. And so in order for you to play, third trumpet, second trumpet, fourth trumpet, fifth trumpet, and it to sound like a section, you have to humble yourselves. And that's probably the best life lesson. So you have to humble yourself to follow another person's phrasing. And the same as playing in a rhythm section, I play bass, and I want to solo on every tune, but I don't get to solo on every tune. So I have to humble myself to say my job here is to be the timekeeper and to make the band sound better.
You were nodding your head.
And young musicians sort of have to learn that lesson in sort of the school of hard knocks way. They may boast that they can be the one that could lead that phrase better, and when they don't, It's when a musician creates clutter and the ensemble breaks down, and our role as teachers and conductors is, you know, that's kind of where I think we sort of earn our money, is when we find a way to get that person back on track and teach them the lessons of how to follow and when it's time to lead. And, you know, the things we're talking about right now could be being discussed with engineering professors or, you know, math professors. You know, it's universal.